Welcome to Season 4 of E-commerce Fastlane. This podcast helps resilient entrepreneurs thrive with Shopify. And now on to episode 207.
You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
This episode is brought to you by Fast Simon, a leader in AI-powered shopping optimization for Shopify merchants. You can now engage your customers, boost your sales, and uplift your average order value with advanced search, personalization, merchandising, and discovery functionalities. As a Shopify merchant, you need the best-of-breed apps to differentiate and thrive in today's e-commerce landscape. Fast Simon has designed its platform with scalable infrastructure and customization in mind. Their new React UI component library simplifies the integration of AI shopping optimization with headless commerce and custom Shopify e-commerce storefronts. The new library can allow you to increase conversions through speed and AI of its shopping optimization platform, including merchandising, smart collections, search, personalization, visual discovery, cross-selling, upselling, and you name it, all with a few lines of code. As a Shopify merchant, Fast Simon understands your needs and offers multiple store views within the same dashboard, copy settings between stores, manage production, staging, and development stores, role-based access controls, and most importantly, they have 24/7 world-class support. Now, Fast Simon has powerful features tailored to the needs of Shopify brands. You can now address your audience's buying intent across different points in the customer journey. Whether your shoppers are browsing or if they have a clear intent to buy, get the tools to move your first-time visitors towards making a purchase by offering a unique buying experience through personalization and visual discovery. Fast Simon has also partnered up with Shopify's point-of-sale system, which is actually fantastic for those retailers listening today with an online store and traditional brick-and-mortar locations, or even a pop-up shop. They also play nice in the ecosystem partners like Klaviyo, Yotpo, Stamped, Facebook, Instagram, so much more. You can even pull unlimited data from about anything in your online store and utilize it in your marketing tech stack. The more data you integrate, the more audience insights and personalization possibilities that you'll discover. Thousands of e-commerce merchants and agencies trust Fast Simon as they are a member of the Shopify Plus certified app program. You'll get great results, maximum flexibility, and unrivaled time to market. And right now, Fast Simon is offering a 14-day free trial for all my listeners. This also includes 30% off for the first 3 months. So check out their website at fastsimon.com. And to take advantage of my listener-only discount and free trial, head on over to ecommercefastlane.com/Fast Simon. This is the only app you will need for all of your shopping optimization needs. So go check them out, fastsimon.com. Well, hey there, it's Steve, and welcome back to the E-commerce Fastlane podcast. Now, if this is your first time listening, this is an e-commerce show where we have honest and transparent conversations about building and thriving with your store powered by Shopify or Shopify Plus. Now, if you're an ambitious lifelong learner, which you probably are since you're here today, you're definitely in the right place. Now, new episodes are available twice weekly with your favorite podcast players like Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and many more. You can also stream current episodes, including a very relevant back catalog. I think today's episode's 207. There's 206 past episodes that are available on E-commerce Fastlane. There's a lot of amazing partners in the Shopify ecosystem, a lot of problems they're solving for brands, a lot of great offers and some information there. So check out ecommercefastlane.com. Now, in today's episode, my guest is Alan Fish, who's the co-CEO and co-founder of a company called MOONSHOT Brands. And what they do is they buy and grow Shopify and Amazon brands. And really, if you think about it, they're here to scale e-commerce brands globally. They really are an omni-channel platform. They really can help you grow and scale a business. But what's interesting, though, is they actually help the founders. They think about their brands. Sometimes some founders, and I have a book of business, and I know this mindset, that they feel that maybe they've hit hit the ceiling, or they feel that maybe they just don't have the energy, or they don't have the technology or the brain power to be able to scale it up to the next level. One of the great things about what Moonshot Brands does is they allow the person who owns the brand to actually get to the table and actually continue building the brand alongside with the Moonshot brand team. So think about all the resources and all the opportunities that are available. They have some proprietary technology. I don't want to put words in his mouth because I tell you we're going to dig into it today because I'm really, really interested in kind of the technology they have and how they're able to understand who is a good fit and how can we make the pie bigger is kind of what my thought is today. So hi, Alan. Welcome to E-commerce Fastlane.
Oh, hi, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So you have a very interesting technology. I actually looked at the website just before recording today, and it's very interesting that you're backed by a lot of major players, like L2 Ventures and Y Combinator and some Garage Capital or some large players that invested in the company and, for great reason. I mean, e-commerce is a hot market. I mean, pandemic has certainly fueled this sort of buying, but people are still enjoying direct to consumer. Amazon is not slowing down. So it's an interesting market that you're involved in, trying to understand these hidden gems out there of founders that are building businesses, but they maybe just don't quite have all of the pieces of the puzzle that they can bring the brand to the next level. And I think that's one of the interesting parts about your company is that you have this technology and you have both personal experience in growing an e-commerce brand. So let's talk a little bit about the Moonshot brand as a company and why you built it. I guess it's not quite the origin story, but just overall the problems that you believe you're solving by having Moonshot brands available to founders.
Thanks a lot, Steve. A lot of what you said is incorporated into it, but what we really see is we have our own experiences building up companies and selling them. And that whole process is just pretty painful, and it's not seller focused and it's not entrepreneur friendly. We really wanted to build an acquirer that we wish would have acquired our businesses in the past. So we offer things like a way for Shopify store owners to have fast, lucrative exits if they want to either sell their company and go on or do the next thing. On the other hand, we have another program where, if they're passionate about their company and they feel like they've hit a ceiling, they can become part of Moonshot, and we give them technology. We bring marketing know-how from individuals who've built up unicorns in the marketing space, and we use data analytics and supply chain knowledge to really supplement and optimize the areas where they feel they can get better, and then we let them work with us and double down on their strengths. And, when you look out there, the way the world's going is people want a larger variety of products. They want them to be omni-channel. They want them to be on Shopify. They want them to be on TikTok. They want them to be, in Target and all these places. And I think we're really arming these amazing people who founded e-commerce companies with the right tools to be able to compete at the next level and to compete against the top brands in the market, because we think there should be, an equal playing field where if you have an amazing brand, an amazing product, and you know how to promote it and it's resonating and has product market fit with customers, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to grow it 5 or 10x from where it is now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is interesting. So let's talk about the origin story, because I'm always fascinated. You mentioned a bit in the green room before recording about maybe having your own e-commerce store and kind of cutting your teeth a little bit in commerce, both you and your co-founder and co-CEO. But just let's talk about the origin story first and just understand where you were and then how that process lead to Moonshot as we know it today. And maybe in the second part of that, where did the desire and the expertise come to even want to get involved in this sort of industry?
Yeah, definitely. So it was interesting. So I met my co-founder, Craig Izikow, at Wharton Business School, and my other co-founder, Jesus Sotelo, at MIT. And at the time, we were involved in business school in a lot of the entrepreneurial launches and the ventures, and we've both done entrepreneurship and even mergers and acquisitions before, acquiring companies. And it just so happens when I left Wharton, I launched my first e-commerce company called HomeSav, where we sold everything from couches to candles, online across North America, built it up to millions of users. After a few years, we were on Dragon's Den, which was fantastic for us. We got about 500,000 new users just from that experience. But I still saw on the capital side, it was really, really hard for e-commerce companies to raise money. And in addition, the parties that were giving them capital, weren't traditional players in the venture space. And we thought, can have a better experience. I mean, it's been, our own experience of selling an e-commerce company was a headache. I mean, there'd be individuals who'd come to us, we didn't know their background. They'd represent that they have a certain amount of money. They'd ask us for a bunch of data. We'd be distracted from the companies we were building. And I think my partner, Craig, also had built Amazon businesses, and I'd actually built D2C businesses. And after that, we both worked more in pure technology, and I built a company called LeapPay that lent money to small businesses in the credit crisis, then built a company called Maven Care that did on-demand healthcare for seniors. But both Craig and I, when COVID came, we became open to the idea of working remotely and working with the best people who we'd ever experienced. And we've been great friends for over a decade. And he had deep Amazon, I had deep D2C experience, and Jesus had deep experience looking at building portfolios and analyzing companies. So we thought, we're operators at heart. We know mergers and acquisitions. We really love e-commerce sellers and the whole e-commerce community. Let's go out there and have some of the greatest e-commerce sellers who have product market fit join us and be able to take their products and companies to the next level and come out with better products, improve marketing through data analytics, improve supply chain complexities, which we see all over the place today, again, through data analytics and through resources that you can only bring to a company that's doing hundreds of millions of dollars of sales. But when you do it, a model like we're doing, where we have a collective of people who are amazing entrepreneurs, who have disparate knowledge that they bring together, really 1 and 1 equals 3. And we're finding that in the companies that we've already bought, that the GMs that join us and entrepreneurs that join us are sharing information. Some will be great at product, others will be great at supply chain, others will be great at branding. And this collective knowledge base is really creating an ecosystem in Moonshot where you want to be part of it, because it's an open community where we all learn from each other, and we take away a lot of the things that e-commerce founders don't love doing, like the accounting, certain parts of customer service, like a lot of the grind, and then we let them do what they're passionate about and good at, and we just try to accentuate that with like the world's leading marketers, the best data scientists that exist, and amazing engineers. And really, we believe that this product is a platform that enables them eventually, if it makes sense, to sell their products in an omni-channel world where they're on Shopify. If they want to be, they're on Amazon, they're on other marketplaces, they're in retail, they're global, they're in many different countries. And this is all areas where we have experience, we have an amazing team, and we have deep expertise that's able to really streamline that process. And what might take an individual entrepreneur years to do, we're able to do in months or even less than that.
Right. This is such fascinating topics because you know what? I get a lot of pings and stuff like through social. I mentioned this too also in the green room about VC and investment firms kind of pinging me and just talking, hey, do you have any leads? And, hey, we're looking for a scout program and this, that, the next thing. And it's interesting because a term that has been used a lot lately, it's not a new term, but it's new to me because I'm new in this kind of M&A world. It's different than the way Moonshot does things, but this whole roll-up merger idea of when a private equity firm chooses to buy up companies kind of in the same market and kind of merge them all together. Like this roll-up merger seems to be this kind of a concept that's happening. And so maybe from a macro lens, why do you think that I'm getting and why the market's like this, but why do you think that venture capital firms or investment firms and founders, why do you believe they're bullish on this kind of roll-up concept right now?
At a high level, look, the e-commerce market is massive. Global e-commerce is going to shortly be $6 trillion a year. There are a lot of great small businesses there where founders have already had product market fit. And the way we shop is increasingly online, and that's where we go for discovery. That's where we go to learn about new brands. And there's being new brands literally born every minute, and thousands of new companies launching every month in the space. And I think the way attention is going today, you do a lot more to find products that you like, and we want to make that easier. And I think the idea of being able to scale some of those processes that almost get in a single entrepreneur's way, but are efficient as a big company, are why a lot of this aggregation is happening, because we take away the headache of doing the accounting. We take away the headache of some of the logistics related processes, and we can do them in a way for a group of companies that makes sense to have that as a division. And we have those resources and the technology to do that. But what we're able to do, and I think what's great is, at least for us, unlike some competitors that just buy the companies, kind of fire everyone, try to optimize it with a bunch of data, like we put the entrepreneurs at the center of it, because we're cut from the same cloth. Like, we think amazing entrepreneurs in e-commerce are a highly valuable addition to any team. And, really without them, it's hard to deliver on their vision of what their company can end up being. But I think the advantages that incumbent brands have are going away, and there's going to be a bunch of new, folks that rise to the level of micro brands. And I think that's a super interesting opportunity. It's really about having these brands be omnichannel. They should be everywhere. And while they start online, there's no reason they should ignore the other 75% of selling retail products. And we know how to do that. We have that network. We have that framework done, and we make it easy as pie. Most small e-commerce companies are resource constrained, and constraints. I can't remember how many times as a founder, I was I had a board of things I was supposed to do, and they were obvious, but you just never got the time to do it. And we take that away. And I think a little differently though than private equity, e-commerce is still highly operational, and we look at ourselves as operators, but we just put in processes that make it easier. And I also think to some extent, we do see some institutionalization of this asset class, and that relates to investors. So I think there are folks that are interested in investing in very large e-com companies, but not small ones. But if you bring these companies together and systematize them, and try and optimize them and make it easier, then there's a lot more capital to flow into these businesses. Because at the end of the day, if you're creating a private label brand that's unique, it's great, and we can help you do that, and it's valuable. And this is the time when companies like Warby and Allbirds set the trend that you can literally make amazing brands that start online first.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and there's so many great case studies in the Shopify world of these D2C brands that have chosen to not be anywhere on retail shelves and strictly focus, direct to consumer only, and built raving fans and a community around the product. But, you're right, at some point in that growth phase, because I have a lot of brands in that kind of area, and when they're migrating into scale, it takes a lot of specialized knowledge and data science and the right execution of the brand to get to that next level. And so I can see the opportunity for Moonshot right now in that particular case, because you've done it to the scale level that many founders want. And, they realize the pie is big, but they also know the competition is fierce also out there. And so knowing that you offer both the intelligence around it, but the data science and technology around it also to work hand in hand with the founder, one opportunity, or the other option is to complete exit and let you guys take it over and run with it, and they get their cash quickly and get to move on to the next opportunity. So I think both sides are quite interesting to me. One thing that's interesting that I'd love to share with the audience is about, and I don't really know the answer to this, so I'd like to know, just because I have a pretty large book of business and I have lots of people pinging me in the market, but tell me about, what does the ideal Moonshot brand look like to you? How do you vet them, and where do they kind of fit in their maturity and their complexity?
Yeah, definitely. So in general, we buy profitable companies and brands that are making between, call it $2 and $30 million of sales. They have profit margins of, call it 15%-ish or more. They either have branded products that are resonating with a niche audience, or they have more mass market products that we find interesting in categories that we feel like are growing strongly with great operators. And the areas we love are very, very broad, really. I mean, the requirement is mostly that it's private label and that it has these profit margins. We like seeing good growth. We like seeing founders who are talented. And I would also say, look, we're always surprised, get a lot of inbound of companies and categories we never thought of and we never look at. And then we look at the data and we do analytics, and all of a sudden there's an amazing place to go and enhance a business and help a great entrepreneur grow it, build it, and capitalize on it with us. It's an amazing discovery process that way. And really, our net is very wide.
That's fantastic. So let's talk about some of the lessons that you've learned, because you no doubt are dealing with a lot of founders, but you also have your own personal lessons of building a company and getting acquired. And so when you have firsthand knowledge, it's nice to be able to pass that down to others. And I'm sure that's, the whole mindset from within the company. But I'd be able to share a little bit about, I guess, some of the steps you took about how does a company get acquired, and then how does somebody know when it's time to want to sell, and then what's the process here?
Yeah, definitely. I would say a few of the things that I learned from going through this process are, everyone's business has good points and bad points. And I know when we're selling, we try to make everything sound great, but investors know this and they're okay with it. I think building a data room at first, where you put a description of your company, you put the financials in there, you get a proper NDA, you work with vetted and trusted people. It makes the process much quicker if you're looking to sell, because it's all buttoned down so that an investor literally gathers data once, can analyze most of what they want. They may ask for a few more things, but it puts it in very short order. It's probably helpful to keep your finances in order, to document your SOPs, to make sure that you work on promoting your brand and you have a good reputation and you keep the brand out there and engaging with your customers and your users. A big focus on customer service is huge. And I would say understanding your numbers also helps a lot, because when an investor comes to you and they see that you understand why the company is growing, or if it's had a hiccup, really understanding the logic and seeing how you dealt with it and how you may deal with it in the future, it really gives us comfort in believing in these entrepreneurs, because they've been there, they've had ups and downs, they've overcome them. And I would say we don't only buy companies, we buy experience and history and talent of people. And buying is the wrong word. We really make them part of us. Mm-hmm. But in our analysis, the founders definitely, in the model where they're staying, are a huge factor in it. Because we want to help them build up their company. We want to help them take it to the next level. Most founders can tell me in pretty short order where they're a 10 out of 10 and where they're a 4 out of 10 and where they need help and what they like to do.
Right.
And we have a deep bench that can help on all those areas.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I just thank you for sharing that, because I think it's going to hit home for a lot of people listening today, because there's brands all over the map that are listening today. 10,000 some brands are learning, the latest kind of marketing strategy. And in this case, is there opportunity to align yourself with others that, have the merchant empathy like you guys do, both done it personally, but then what you're doing too. It's a big blue ocean out there. I was just talking to a retail person a couple days ago, and it's one of the things they were talking, they have a tech stack for retail and doing live video one-on-one. It's kind of interesting technology, but his comment was that, still 90 cents out of every dollar is still being spent in store. There's still this massive opportunity. The challenge is, because the competition, it is a growing online market, fair enough, but you have to align yourself with the right people and the right technology to be able to grow the business. And I think that's the problem people get. They hit a certain threshold. Sometimes they have a little bit of imposter syndrome, or they're, the shiny object syndrome, where they're always checking out new things and they're not focusing on the one thing they have to do to kind of grow the brand. I think you kind of put people in a perspective, I think, so to speak. And like you said, you got a deep bench, so you're really able to help people. And I just massively appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'd also say to what you were just mentioning, we also, because we create relationships, let's say with retailers, we have sort of economies of scale there in terms of being able to have those relationships, streamline the process of getting products in there and getting them looked at. And we've sort of built up, trust with these larger companies that we can deliver We know how to follow their processes. We can get it done on time. And basically, if you join Moonshot, you also benefit from that because right away you become a more trusted brand to these third parties. And sometimes things that getting on a shelf that could take a year or two, might take a few months.
Right. That's amazing. Let's pivot to a story, because I think, we're all entrepreneurs and marketers, I believe, at heart, at least the ones listening today. And I believe it's kind of the education and the inspiration around a story that I believe can really motivate a lot of us. You can kind of put yourself in another founder's shoes. And so I don't know, hopefully I don't put you on the spot here, but it'd be great if you could maybe share a recent journey of a Shopify brand that, made the choice to be part of the Moonshot family. They weren't part at the beginning. They learned about you. They came on board. And then there's obviously this process that happened, and then just curious on the other end how things have panned out.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Happy to share a story. I may not get that specific for certain reasons. Like in our industry, we just want to keep a loop on the companies we own. But for example, we had actually been on a phone call with an individual we knew, and we saw a skateboard in the picture that they were in. And they were like, wow, that's an amazing skateboard. And it just so happened that was a vendor who'd been selling on Shopify, who, we looked a little more into them, and they had an amazing following. And it just so happened that we spoke to the owner, and a lot of things that we were saying resonated. They were great at branding, excellent at social media, but there were other areas where, they could use help and they didn't like doing it, and they would love it if we helped improve the supply chain, help take the company to the next level, because it was already really resonating with folks. But to be able to manufacture it on the next level, to distribute it on the next level is something that's super difficult. And if you haven't done it before, it can really be daunting. And a lot of companies at this level just get stuck. But what was great was we actually owned another company that was in a similar space that was bigger, where the founders had deep knowledge in all these areas and were really great at many of the things that this founder did not find a strength. And in that circumstance, it's been actually amazing to see it. The two groups have been working together and sort of complementing, almost like a yin-yang. They're both good at sort of opposite things, but they're able to help make their companies great and stronger because of this wealth of knowledge. And then we're able to accelerate that and accentuate that with our technology, with our marketing team, with our ops team, so that instead of taking years to do something like that, it takes months. And then literally, in less than half a year, you'll see sales doubling. It's amazing. It's really great.
Yeah, love it.
If you really understand your own talent and get to double down, get to do way more of what you love doing and way less of those things that really are the reasons you don't want to go to work in the morning.
Yeah, just getting more reach. That's the big thing I'm getting out of this. Just getting more reach. If you're building an amazing skateboard and it's resonating with a lot of people, but when you get to add in all the extra pieces of the puzzle, you can only get so far sometimes. And I think sometimes you just don't have the deep expertise. And I think that's what you're suggesting, is that we can create more reach and get into more hands and more people to enjoy this amazing product. The engineering is there, and the product is that everybody loves it. But the challenge is maybe the price is not right. So you have to go back to the supply chain and get it better, cheaper, faster shipping, loyalty programs. There's so many things that you can do from a marketing side, branding side. A lot of pieces of the puzzle are working, or you wouldn't have partnered up and or purchased the brand. But, just bring it to the next level, I think is pretty cool. And so thank you for sharing that story, not specifically, but I think overall, generally, I think the listeners understand kind of the power of what you can do. So let's talk about Q4 right now. We're right in the middle of it. With the holiday season is definitely around the corner. I know all my calls that I have with brands, I have a book of business. Everybody's chomping at the bit right now, trying to make decisions about what they're going to do. There is still some supply chain challenges. I have quite a few brands where, they have 30 containers still sitting at the port right now. And they're like, oh man, that's our BFCM. We got 5 weeks away. What are we going to do here? So I'm just curious what you're recommending the brands that you manage, or even entrepreneurs in general. What sort of things should brands do right now to prepare themselves for this inevitable rush?
Yeah, definitely. We also have the holiday season coming, so it's double pressure.
It's double, but I know.
We're all aware of these supply chain issues, so you might as well, even though it's not pleasant, you got to create a contingency plan. Figure out what's going to happen if the product comes late. what are alternative ways to get the product here, making many of your goods arrive for Christmas rather than none of them is much better than only thinking it's sort of an all or none situation. And make sure your sites are going to be ready for the Christmas season to handle the holiday traffic, because I think it'll be a good holiday season and we're super excited about it. Make sure you have as much inventory as you can. We saw last year that there was a lot of folks in the holiday season that had inventory issues or really lack of inventory. Come up with campaigns, potentially gift cards for your great customers, and have a holiday planned. Like that's what I would say. And as far as logistics goes, you probably need a 3-scenario plan where what's the outcome if things go better than you expected? What's the medium outcome if you get some but not all the inventory you wanted? And hopefully you optimize away from the negative outcome. And I think if you're planned and thoughtful and you think ahead today, you'll be okay for the holiday season, especially if you have done that already.
One thing I'll add too, as far as the supply chain part, I've been mentioning this to a lot of brands I manage, that they have to be conscious of the fact that they may run out of stock because they didn't forecast correctly, or it's just not coming to them as fast as they would have hoped. So it's an interesting challenge to be involved in. But the reality is, if you have a contingency plan or even just an overall plan, is to think about how can you align yourself with other complementary products. I'll give you an example. So Steve Madden is a widely well-known shoe brand, big retailer doing his thing. What's interesting about Steve Madden is that, he focuses on shoes, but it's funny when you go to his online store, you'll see that he has a lot of other complementary products, handbags and other accessories and things. They're not Steve Madden branded, but he's using technology now, and this technology is available to a lot of different brands. So those thinking today of if you have a certain vertical or a range of product today, and you want to add a complementary line, not that you want to turn into a marketplace, because that's not what you're trying to do, but there's no reasons why you can't increase your average order value and lifetime value of your customer by having complementary products that are non-competitive. Yes, they sell on their own, doing their thing on their own direct-to-consumer site, but why not build relationships? And there's a couple tools out there that I'm just going to give some shout-outs on right now. One is called Convictional at convictional.com. I think they're actually in the Toronto market, so you might even know them. And there's also another company called Carro, and that's spelled Carro. Both of these platforms are so unique and they're so tight in the Shopify ecosystem that they have a marketplace of products and brands available, and you can create a relationship between the two parties. Give an example, like Steve Madden, for example, has shoes, but has a certain range of handbags. If you click buy now on a pair of shoes in the handbag and check out, Steve Madden gets all the money. Fair enough. But also the order for the handbag then shows up in the other vendor's admin to be fulfilled on behalf of Steve Madden. The money still exchanges hands. It all happens in the background. It's so interesting that, without any capital outlay, you have the opportunity to expand your product mix in other complementary areas. So to say that, oh, woe is me, stick my head in the sand and, oh, it's too bad about, this fourth wave of COVID and all these problems. Okay, that's one way of looking at it, but that's not resiliency. I personally would think that getting involved with Convictional or Carro or even co-op commerce, there's another opportunity out there. There's opportunities out there of expanding your product mix directly connected to Shopify, and you're still offering amazing value to maybe other brands that do have a lot of stock.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense, especially in a time where there are these supply chain hiccups and supply chain issues. Like, it's just a no-brainer.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the future for Moonshot, because I think you're clearly going down your journey. There's been a lot of acquisitions that have happened, straight up acquisitions, and I know there's also a lot of partners that you brought on board with the brands that you're managing. But I'd love to maybe share with the audience, what's the North Star for Moonshot as of this recording, and then where are you headed into 22 and beyond?
Yeah, really, like, our mission statement is really to build the omni-channel platform that takes brands globally with the press of a button. There's a lot of parts to that. We're looking to have a bunch of amazing brands continue to join our ecosystem and become part of Moonshot. We're looking to take our brands to the next level, invest in them heavily, build out the team even further, and really deliver on our promise of, again, taking brands globally and growing them tremendously. Again, further building up our tech team, our talent team, acquiring more companies, but then also really at the end of the day, like, bringing a better selection of products to end users that they appreciate, that resonate with them, that are really more almost reactive to what they like and what they're interested in. Because at the end of the day, it's really, in e-commerce, a ton of it is about having your product where the consumers are who love it and are excited by it. And I mean, we want to keep acquiring great companies, and we've been doing that. And, we want to even take that to the next level and have that go even quicker. I'm happy, if you email us at info@moonshotbrands.com and you're interested in either selling your company outright or potentially more of the program where you become part of Moonshot and grow your company with us, we'd love to hear from you. We're super excited to have great entrepreneurs that have a deep passion for what they're building, because at the end of the day, all the things you've mentioned, tech, data science, marketing, etc., we find that they're all a big complement to the passion. But I think passion withstands what you have to make great products as an entrepreneur. And it's kind of like a shell. Once you've developed it and you've overcome these things and you've gone through them, you become tougher and more amenable to going through that process. And it just becomes more and more enjoyable. You become better at it. And we just want to enhance your ability to take your product that you love to the world.
Yeah, this is lovely. So where can people go to learn more? There's going to be people with brands that are interested in getting on a conversation with you. You mentioned email address, but where do you want to direct the traffic today?
Oh, yeah. I want to make it as easy for anyone. And I also want to say, we pay great referral fees for companies we buy. We pay, depending on the size of the company, we pay between $20,000 to as high as $500,000 for an intro that leads to an acquisition. Number one, like I said before, you could go to info@moonshotbrands.com, but you can also, and more easily, go to our website, which is moonshotbrands.com. And on the bottom, there's a form that you can fill out in 2 minutes and get in contact with us. And we have an amazing team of M&A folks that are always available, to speak to people, because this is what we do. And you know what, if you don't end up selling to us, hopefully we at least give you some benefits of analysis of your company that can help you in the future do better, be better. Because really want to improve this experience of selling a company. We want to contribute to the ecosystem, because we feel like we're cut from the same cloth, and we've been e-commerce entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general. I don't even have to narrow it down to e-commerce, but we're building something amazing here. And I think the right kind of people, we can help us, help them, and help each other build global brands together.
Lovely. Well, this is great. Well, Alan, as you know, Shopify has a mission, and this mission too. It's to make commerce better for everyone. It's plastered all over the walls of Shopify, and and I know you're tight with a lot of the VPs and stuff in Shopify. So, it's clear to me based on this recording today, you really are in tight alignment, with that, really wanting to help brands. And I love the fact that you're here to improve efficiencies as part of the M&A program and just figuring out what that next process is, or getting on board with Moonshot, I think is fantastic, and just grow the revenue of the brand. And, just most importantly, I love the fact that you're giving founders, I'd call it almost a leveraged opportunity, to benefit from the upside. I think that's the value that I get today. There's fine to say, hey, I built this $5 million company. I'm going to get a multiple today. I have great gross margin and I have great growth potential and get a chunk of money. But sometimes the upside is so much larger, and why not get involved with people who have done it already? Take a small slice of the company, but the upside is you get access to the technology and the brain power. And I just want to thank you for sharing that today. Moonshot, it sounds like a great opportunity. I'm going to make sure that I mention it to brands that I manage if it's on their radar, and just wanted to thank you for giving back to the Shopify ecosystem.
Yeah, and Steve, amazing. I just want to thank people like you who are really making it better for e-commerce entrepreneurs out there through education, through opportunities, and really helping build out this amazing ecosystem.
All right, well, have yourself a great day.
You too.
This episode is brought to you by Fast Simon, a leader in AI-powered shopping optimization. Its revolutionary platform uniquely integrates shopper, behavioral, and store signals for an e-commerce search, strategic merchandising, and optimized shopping experiences that dramatically increase conversions and average order value. Engage your customers, boost your e-commerce sales, and uplift your average order value with advanced search and merchandising functionalities. And as I mentioned, right now, Fast Simon is offering a 14-day free trial for all my listeners. This also includes a special bonus of 30% off for the first 3 months. So go check out their website, fastsimon.com, and to take advantage of these offers, my listener-only bonus and free trials, head on over to ecommercefastlane.com/FastSimon. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you, a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, launch, grow, and scale with Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.